Hi there, Andrew Moore here with you. I really, excuse me, I shouldn't have done that in the microphone. I'm still getting used to this. There's a part of me that thinks that I was absolutely meant for YouTube. Well, it's sort of a new realization, but this has come over a very, very long time of enjoying and even in many, many ways learning from the platform. So I've kind of reached that stage in my life where I feel like it's time to give back. And that's understandable. And this is, if you just hold knowledge for yourself or hold experiences for yourself and you don't give back to anyone, that's really kind of selfish, right? We all learn off of each other. So if you're one to go through a whole number of experiences, some of them incredibly difficult, and you don't go anywhere with that information, right? It's a pretty shallow life, in my opinion. I mean, that's why I wrote 4 books. You can see actually over there, my book's down there at the bottom. It's 4 books under one cover. And I did that to help other people that were facing the kind of things that I was facing, living and working in different countries and having the types of parents that I had. And I use that term parent very loosely. But this is a video about getting out of your own way and how to mitigate, if not completely remove self-sabotage from your life. Now, it's very strange because some people get their hackles up. Well, I don't sabotage myself, but we really do. We're our own worst enemy. Even the people that get in your way and tell you that you can't do something are really limited in scope because they're not standing in your shoes, right? If you really want to do something, you'll figure out a way to do it, even if you are in your own way. So I'll give you an example. When I first started making videos, of course, my face was always other subjects, right? But I felt like I was being a fraud in a way that I felt compelled that I needed to show my face. But all the way going back to being a child, I never liked myself in photographs. I was always hyper self-critical. And it's because I always felt odd. I always felt strange. And I am strange, but I'm me, right? And I really, really like, and this has taken development, I really like who I am because I know that my heart and my mind are working in sync, driving me in the direction that eventually, we're talking about now, but eventually I would go. I need to bring this stuff to you. I'm compelled to. And just like, I teach English online after a decade of teaching English in Europe. And the reason I teach English online and for some very, very little money is so that I could, and I didn't even realize this, but through the process, I've learned all of these other things that I can do in creating my own digital assets. And, I work with fantastic professionals all over the world. And that's enjoyable, but I wouldn't have experienced that if I hadn't forced myself. So the way that this happened is I got on this platform, and of course I'm teaching, so I have to do it in front of a camera. And that didn't bother me so much because it was one-on-one, right? And I still really had to get over this, right? So a lot of times when we're getting in our own way is because, our, shall I use a word as loaded as soul? Our soul, or we have a greater desire to do something that's part of our path. Whether you want to give it that much weight or not. But the thing is, what I'm trying to say is that oftentimes we have to grow into that person that we want to become. So if you're thinking to yourself, wow, I would really like to be a millionaire. Well, great, whatever. I mean, it's you can do it. You can absolutely do it. But you have to grow into that person. If all of a sudden $1 million was to fall in your lap right now and you weren't ready, or you didn't really understand the weight and the magnitude of what that could mean for your life, for the rest of your life, if you're smart, then you'll blow it. And there was an inheritance from my father. Believe me, it wasn't given directly to me. It was the way Hawaii state law worked. My sister got half and I got half, and he died unexpectedly, so he didn't have a will. Well, there was quite a bit of money that came, and I did well. I did well with my investments, and I flipped homes, and I built my own home on Mount Shasta. It's 6,000 feet, completely off-grid. I taught myself how to do all those things. I even built myself my own company in Costa Rica, a biodiesel company. Registered, produced biodiesel, sold the company. So really my only registered company has been in Costa Rica. It's never been in the States. But we have to grow into that person that we're imagining. And this can come in different ways. I didn't expect my online teaching to give me the mental or the emotional okay, right? To restart with YouTube and be comfortable in front of the camera. So what happens now that I'm comfortable in front of the camera? Shoot, it's wide open. If I spend a half an hour or an hour with a student and I impart whatever, information, wisdom, whatever I can help them with, especially when it comes to English language or business English, right? And how to comfortably communicate, or effectively, even better, effectively communicate in the language, then that's fantastic. But if I can do it for one student in a half an hour, why can't I do it for 10,000, right? And what if I do a little bit of keyword research and I find the right keywords that fit with the topic that I want to speak about? Well, then I can do that too, right? So I could take all of my SEO experience and all of my web experience and all of my international experience and all of my emotional experience. It's a lot, right? And then I can take these things and compose them and reorganize them, reconstitute them into something that's valuable to you. Hopefully it's valuable to you. So how do we get out of our own way? Well, we grow past it, right? But you have to be conscious of it. You have to be conscious of your own self-sabotaging, if not self-destructive behaviors. And believe me, I've had plenty of that. I just think back to 2021 in the midst of COVID, and I'm down in South America, and who I was at that time has changed so much to now. It's really hard to fathom. It's growth is nonlinear in most things, right? But you've got to apply the effort. If you want to be the millionaire that we talked about before, you have to feel what that's like, right? You have to settle into that and almost investigate who you would be, right, to have made that money, right? Or if it was bequeathed to you in some way, who you would have to be to manage that money as well as possible. Now, I can't blame the dissolution of my small fortune to my marriage or me divorcing her and what that costs. Actually, the real costs incurred when I married the woman, and nothing on her because it was the most valuable, both financially and emotionally valuable experience in my life. Oh, I learned some severe lessons. Boy, did I was never a chump for women. I was never a pushover. But I had built a house at 6,000 feet, and she came back into my life And I thought that this was natural progression. Well, I built the house. Here's my wife. Let's make babies. The whole thing blew up. The whole thing was a disaster. And at the same time, I got into another real estate deal that I didn't think all the way through. So I want you to be clear. Make no mistake about this. All of this was my fault. All of it. I had no counsel. My parents were passed at that point, both of them. And she had a big family. She had a wonderful family. I'd married into her family too. I was very happy about this. Everything on paper looked wonderful. And then, I discovered some things and realized that if I didn't divorce her, my freedom was at risk. She was making decisions that put my life in jeopardy. And so I filed the papers. And everything went downhill from there. So I'm at the tail end of the 10-year aftermath of not only living through that divorce and losing really badly on a real estate deal and recovering from the loss of our daughter. I'm in Medellin, Colombia, and people like to yell about things, so please excuse the gentleman in the street that's probably selling papayas. But I'm at the end of that 10-year cycle, and that was devastating to my life. I hit the road, basically, and finally I can see light, Well, I never lost my faith. I always tried to stay positive, but I had to figure things out, completely on my own and with very little funds. And I moved from Mount Shasta, California to Austin, Texas. And COVID hit, and I left for Puerto Rico, Colombia, Peru, and etc. Anyway, my point is that you're going to have to grow through things. So one of the ways that you can do this is read books and listen to videos and watch videos about people that have tread that path and got to the other side of these things like self-sabotage. You have to be careful too, because people can put little things in your ears, right? Put little things, oh, you're not worthy, you're not good enough, why would you even try that? Oh, the only thing you're going to do is fail, right? These are the people that they're well-intentioned, right? They don't want you to hurt yourself, right? Well, then that would be very nice, but the flip side of that is that they want to make sure that you don't rise, especially past the level that they are, right? Very happy when you're down here, but when you start to edge past them, then they get jealous. Then they can even get deceitful. They can get vindictive for no reason. You're like, wow, I've taken care of you my whole life, and now you're literally blowing up in my face. And that's happened to me too. So I have very few friends, but the friends that I have know that I care deeply about them. But I just don't put myself out there. I'm definitely not as, it's ironic. I was going to say, I'm definitely not as open and just welcoming, but here I am on YouTube. Well, it's safe. You're on the other side of the screen. I don't have to worry about you. You haven't injected your opinions into my life and tried to give me advice that you have no place giving me. I've earned my stripes. I've earned my stripes around the world. Okay, so it's nice to finally be able to get to this point that I can recognize when I get in my own way. I'm very, very protective of my thoughts, and I'm very conscious of what I'm telling myself. In fact, I'll give you a hot tip. Find some really good quality audiobooks on YouTube and fall asleep listening to that stuff. I recommend Wallace Wattles. I really like the new era thought, right? Napoleon Hill, people like this, right? Find some nice, big, long books. I'm running short of authors in my head right now, but and fall asleep listening to that stuff. Don't keep the electronics close to your head. I use a tablet. It's on the other side of the room where the speaker is facing me, so I'm not falling asleep to a bright screen, right? Keeping the EMF out of my brain and falling asleep listening to some really, really good stuff that I don't have time to listen to otherwise. Because do I need to consciously listen to those details? No, of course not. I'm letting it work subconsciously. I'm welcoming these quality thought leaders into my mind and absorbing that as much as possible. Does it work? No. Yes, absolutely it does. In my opinion. You have to figure that out for yourself. Just like everything else I'm talking about. You have to figure this stuff out for yourself. I'm just trying to give you, if you have a particular lock that you need to crack, I'm giving you a number of blank keys that you can try, right? These are devices. So let's run this down. First of all, be conscious of what you're telling yourself. Second of all, be conscious of what people are telling you. Third of all, be conscious of your motivations and where you want to go, right? You have to have some sort of goal. And to be honest with you, YouTube, as vague as that sounds, was like a soft goal. Like I knew it was in my future, right? But I had to grow past that really awkward phase and, and produce a lot of poor videos. Who knows about the quality of this one? I'm just giving you my best, right? I have to go through this production to get to the point where I can master a skill. And at the same time, balance it with the hours that I'm working and try and squeeze this in here and all the other, oh my gosh, I love everything I do, but I'm overwhelmed. If I could take 2 months off of teaching English, and I'll be in Cuenca, Ecuador next, in 2 weeks I'll be in Ecuador. If I could just take 2 months and just work on my videos and work on my websites, right? Work on my course, because I've got a really good course in development. Work on these things and launch, right? And then sort of take a step back and reevaluate, reiterate, improve, get the feedback from the audiences, make a better product for the next launch. I'm so close, I'm so close. And I know that I've got a lot to offer. And it's strange because it's in my gut, right? It's in my solar plexus. I want to help people. I want to be the person that, at my 20-year-old self would be like, okay, that dude's figured some stuff out. That's the stuff that I want to know that. Because, man, I would not want to be, a young man today. You guys have it very, very difficult, very confusing time to be alive. Don't get blackpilled, don't get disillusioned. You have much more control over yourself and your future than you realize, but you've got to take ownership. And when I say take ownership, I mean of every aspect of your life that you possibly can, right? So that you can make your own mistakes, pick yourself back up and go again. And I have to, I don't, look, let's be honest. It was quite possible that I wouldn't have made it to this age. I have many friends that are DEAD dead, and either from drugs, or they drank themselves to death, or drugs, or they drank themselves to death. A lot of, really special people to me that are no longer around. And some of them that are on their way to doing that. But not me. I'm here on YouTube, and I'm trying YouTube and or Rumble, And here I'm trying to give you the best that I can give you. Okay? So if you have any further questions, leave them in the comments, right? Leave them in the comments, and, let me take your feedback and then produce something again. All right? So it was wonderful meeting you today. I wish you the very best. And get out of your own way. Get out of your own hole. It's, it takes time and it takes effort. Nobody said it was going to be easy, right? But once you get past that, all the doors are open. Ciao.